What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Investing Bros. And look at that. I'm paused. I'm freaking out. I'm going all over the place. Oh, that's nice. Technical difficulties. It's always good. It's always good to get some pixelated Tim in here. Guys, we got a lot to talk about because we got a lot to talk about in crypto. I do believe we're going to be seeing some prices flying here very soon. Part of our reasons, we are pretty good about not being late. We are about a minute late today, because I am operating, even though I'm in the same room, there were some things that moved around. It's a new computer. It was giving me a buttload of problems. I think Bedridden said it yesterday. If there's one thing you can count on with Tim, it's technical difficulties. Well, guess what? You just 1 year long, Bedridden. Tim had technical difficulties again, but that's all right. That's all right, because we got a lot to discuss here. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, as the title suggests, we're going to talk about a move to the upside. I do want to say here, Patrick A., love seeing you in here. So glad you're commenting. He says, Bears won't get wrecked. You will. Fair. That's fair. That's a good opinion there. Good opinion there, Patrick. We shall see. I do think that prices have a little ways to go upside. I don't think that we're done necessarily going down either, though. I think there's still prices to go down, not only in the short term. I think there's prices to go down in maybe the next couple of weeks. But I still see prices to the upside as well. And it's crazy. How do you see prices to the upside and downside? That's called crypto volatility, baby. That's what we have here. We're going to break it all down in this stream. Not a boatload of news. We will still have a news section, but we're going to be doing a lot of charts. Make sure you guys are engaged in the chat. Let us know what charts you want to take a look at. We will be looking at trading positions, long-term positions. We can talk strategy. We can talk news. We can talk whatever you guys want to talk about today. And Patrick, if you want to talk about why the Bulls are going to get wrecked, you go ahead and tell me in chat. We'll have that discussion. But before we jump into that juicy information, I am joined by my co-host, who never has technical difficulties, who is perfect in all things computer. That is Mr. T. Shroom, and he is our savior of the day. He helped me walk through and get this computer up and running. How are you doing, my good sir?
Well, Tim, I'll be honest with you. I'm doing better than I deserve. And I know that might come as a surprise to a lot of folks because I very rarely will ever say that, but I am. And I've got a great quote of the day here for us, and it's from somebody who I've discovered has a lot of great quotes. But today, this is what it is for us. Keep your head up in failure and keep your head down in success. What do you think about that one, Tim?
Yeah, I actually love it. I mean, it depends on, keep your head up in failure, meaning don't give up. Don't brag about failing.
Right.
And then, I'm a big believer. I vividly remember getting into trouble as a child because we weren't allowed to brag. So if we ever tried to brag on ourselves, we would get in trouble. So it's something I learned very much. So if you're good at what you do, you don't need to tell people. Other people will tell you for you. Yep. So it's a good quote from good old Jerry Seinfeld.
That's right.
Did you watch Seinfeld growing up?
Tim,
you still watch Seinfeld?
Tim, I watched Seinfeld growing up. I watched it a lot in college, and I watch it every single night on Netflix. That's what I watch to fall asleep, and it's on when I wake up. So, yeah, there's something about that 90s vibe. Jerry Seinfeld, funny guy, and George Costanza, he's a hoot. Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Are you a friend or a foe to Seinfeld, or was Friends your favorite show back in the day? That was kind of the antithesis for
Tay and I have been watching, when we watch shows at night, if we're ever just chilling, we've been watching Everybody Loves Raymond. So another throwback show.
It's another good one. Yeah.
There haven't been a lot of good new shows. So that's why you have to go back to the oldies and to find your entertainment nowadays.
I will blindly agree with that, Tim, even though I have a starkly opposition opinion on that. I'm just going to blindly agree with it.
You think there's some good new shows?
Just pile on.
What's some new shows you're watching right now, T-Shirt?
I mean, Survivor's really good. The new seasons of Survivor's really good.
I don't think I've ever seen one season of it. So.
I Think You Should Leave is pretty funny on Netflix. Definitely not for kids, but very, very funny.
That is a funny show. I'll give you that one. I still think some of the oldies are better. Comment in chat. We're about to get into crypto talk, but you guys know it's the Investing Bros. We always have to have a little bit of banter in the beginning. What is your favorite show that you watch on repeat? Is it an oldie or is it a newbie? Let us know in the chat. Let's see. Before we jump in here, T-Shirt, anything I'm forgetting? Anything that we should cover before we jump in?
And there wasn't really anything breaking, so just kind of a day, just kind of seeing what levels hit. And different things like that. Generally, the stock market, especially tech, was kind of down, but crypto has come roaring back to zero, to nobody's surprise except the bears. So yeah, I say we go ahead and kick it on over to the old coin market cap.
Yeah, let's go look at more coin market cap, see what is happening here now. In the last hour, we have a couple of different coins with red, but Bitcoin, last 24 hours, up 3.35%. Not super hard to do when you had a really red day yesterday.
Yeah.
But good for Bitcoin. Good for Bitcoin to be back in the green. BNB, after actually having a decent day yesterday, it's staying modest, only 1.5. Solana, I will say, it's at 106. Goodness gracious. Solana got away from me, guys. I had a trade entry I missed it by probably about $2, which is actually a pretty wide margin. So didn't get that one. Would love to have been along on that, but did not get into it. That sucks. It is what it is. XRP, guys, it's not a stable coin. It's just not gaining that much. It's only at 58 after dropping down. I think it got all the way down to like 52 or something. We'll have to take a look at that maybe a little bit later. Cardano, up 3%. It took a little bit of a dip down as well. Hadn't been below 60 cents in a minute, or at least sustained 60 cents. But yeah, we're still hovering at 57. We'll have to talk about that one as well, because I do believe that's another one that could go. AVAX having a good day here, back up to $38, 7% to the upside. Let's take a look at the biggest gainers, biggest losers as a whole. Beam, everyone's favorite gaming token. I don't actually think it's everyone's favorite gaming token, but it is having a fantastic day. Despite the fact it's only up 23% on the week, it's up 37% today. And, look at this, TIA. One of the ones that I've been keeping my eyes on. This is actually, I was actually on BitLab Academy today, and Kelly asked me, Tim, did you have any, like, degen picks? I'm like, man, I'm not really a degen guy, but I'll take, outside of my blue chips that I love to trade because I trust them, the two more riskier ones I'd gotten invested in more recently were Caspa and TIA. And so those are my kind of, even though they're not really small anymore. TIA having a phenomenal day today. You'll love to see it. Now, I'm not trading that one with any leverage. I just have some spot TIA, but that's okay. Still making some of these TIA moves, spot trading, have made better gains than using leverage. So that's all I'm going to say about old TIA. Aptos is having quite a day. Woo Network, still don't know much about it. Injective up 15%. Caspa, there we go. Caspa back up to 11 cents here. Gotta fill your bags with Caspa before things get too good. Let's look at the biggest losers. I don't think there's gonna be many. Oh, they're actually more than I thought. Maker's down. ICP is down. Still up 38% for the week, but down 5.67%. Say, now here's one. Yeah, 71% of the week. Say had really been doing well. It makes sense that it's down. This is not because of anything wrong. I actually would imagine seeing this in the red, Say might be a good buy today. It's been on fire here recently. I do think it's going to have success down the road. Probably going to make it into my portfolio. Mina here is doing down as well. It's not having as good of a week, but that's another one a lot of people really like. So there's your biggest gainers, biggest losers. So let's go over here. Look at this Bitcoin getting volatile for you right now. We broke up to 44, almost 500, a level that I did think was going to be very interesting. Now, I'm actually surprised we got this high this fast. I thought that we were going to kind of hit our heads here. Let's kind of zoom out. I don't know why I'm on the 5-minute chart. Probably because I was doing some looking at some scout potential trades earlier. I thought we were going to hit our heads on this yellow line right here. In case you guys are wondering what we're looking at with Bitcoin, we had been in a symmetrical triangle pattern at the end of a nice little flagpole. We had our breakout way back here on January 1st, making us think that the new year was coming with a boom, only to have a little bit of fake out. And then a day later on the 2nd, well, it's like the morning of the 2nd, we just had a colossal breakdown here. We didn't just come back down into the formation. We actually wicked down below it, coming all the way back down below 41,000. Now, we've covered that before. We talked about why that was. It probably went a little farther than it really needed to. But we broke back out above this resistance level. Here's the question, T-Shroom. Do we hold this as support? I'm not so certain. And I told you guys, this is going to be complicated because the title says bears are going to get wrecked, but now Tim's saying he's not sure if support's going to hold. What exactly is Tim saying? Did you guys know, fun fact, did you know that you can both be bullish and bearish on price action at the exact same time? Did you know that in your future prediction of price action, you can be predicting both a price decrease and a price increase? Called timeliness. It's called projecting what happens next, right? And while I can't say with 100% certainty, let's go back over to my screen. Let's go take a look at our liquidation levels here using Bitcoin. 7-day, definitely still showing some liquidations down here towards 38, but I do believe, I'm going to go out here on a limb here and predict, I don't think we see 38 again until it's actually time to get a nice little dip to the downside in preparation of the real bull market starting later on this summer. Let's take a look at the 12-hour, though. This is where it gets a little bit interesting for Bitcoin. And let's go ahead and zoom on in here, because you'll see, before I zoom in, still pockets. You have pockets all the way up where? 53,000. We'll probably talk about that here in just a little bit later. But we have a nice little gap here from 48.5 all the way up to about 5,900, almost 51,000. You have a little gap right here. The most interesting details of Bitcoin for right now on the 12-hour chart are going to come between 46,000 and down here towards 41.4. Let's zoom in and let's discuss. Now, these are the liquidation levels. This is why I am both bearish and bullish. I believe that both of these will be hit. And then I do believe we'll get to the long-term bullishness here in a little bit, but I do believe we're going to be going above 50,000, especially if we get an approval within the next, let's see, it's the 4th. So let's call it the next 6 days. If we get an approval, it could get very, very interesting very fast. However, we are sitting in a spot right now where, yes, we have some liquidations to the upside, but we still have some liquidations to the downside. This is not the spot that you want to be confidently long-term entering any type of high leverage long or short. Why? Because the more that you build it up, the better the chance the traders who have experience, and I'm talking about the guys who are sitting here trading with millions of dollars, who are just looking at charts like this to see where they can wreck both the bulls and the bears. They're waiting for you to make a move. So my advice to you guys, if you're going to do some spot trading, do some spot trading with your stop losses below these levels. If you're in a long, below these levels, put the stop loss somewhere down towards $40,000. Because just as you think, when you see charts like this, just as you start to make momentum in one direction, that's when they get you. It's a trap. They pull it back down. It really can get interesting back down here towards 42,400. Let's come back over to the charts and kind of look at 42,000. Let's even put a mark right there. 42.4. I actually have a little alarm right above it. That's going to bring us back into this area right here. That's where we see some heavy liquidations. The truth is, because we see it all the way down here to 42, you might even want to keep your eye on what happens on a revisit to 42. It's probably somewhere around this red support line, right? But at the same time, we're going to have some heavy liquidity that comes all the way up here to 46. So now this is the right question to be asking. Tim, what do I do with this information? What do I do with the fact that we do have all of this liquidity? This is what everyone hates about technical analysis, but I'm going to show you guys and explain to you why you need to learn to embrace this sentence. We are sitting in a spot where the price could go up and the price could go down. If you don't know how to plan, yeah, you're in trouble. But if you know how to plan, you are going to be A-okay. This is where you want to be. Sit on the sidelines with your plan in place, have your stop losses. But ultimately, what we're looking at right here, more than likely is if we start to make a break up here, this is my plan. I actually am going to put probably a small little spot trade in, maybe 2x leverage with a tight stop loss. That if we go to the upside, I'll take my profit up here at 46 and wait for a cool off to see what happens. Because at that point, we might make a move back down. We might go ahead and decide it's just time to explode to the upside. But what I'm not going to do is go crazy, and I'm not going to enter any type of higher leverage trades on Bitcoin until I see this 42.4 once again. So while I'm not 100% certain which way it's going to go, I have a plan put in place for either direction. Let's take a look at what we're seeing even with fixed range volume profile here with Bitcoin and take a look what it is saying. We did come up here. Yeah, this is what I was going to think. We hit our heads, went wick through it a little bit, but we hit our heads right here, struggling with the value area high of this position. Where's our value area low? Down here towards 41,800. That's kind of close to that 42 we were talking about. So that's kind of our worst case scenario for price action, but best case, because again, a good entry point before the real explosion starts to happen. Why are we still bullish though long term? So this is where we get to the place where it's like, hey, what do we mean when we say the bears are going to get wrecked? Guys, this dip ultimately, just like let's kind of go back here and just explore Bitcoin for the last little bit. Do you guys remember this wick right here? Do you guys remember back here in October on the, I think this was the 16th. Back on October 16th, we had a fake story, a fake story that said that we were going to have ETFs approved. All right. It was fake. It was an intern over there at Cointelegraph jumping the gun and giving a big publication to a fake story. We had a huge wick, and then when the news came out, it refreshed, right? Now, we ended up moving to the upside because things got more interesting. Things got really interesting as we started to see all the pieces come together, that even though we're still had a distance to go to get the approval, BlackRock was really making the plays they needed to. Fidelity was making the plays they needed to. The SEC was being worn down. We had Grayscale winning lawsuits against the SEC. We still moved to the upside based off the anticipation of the ETF being approved. What happened here? Ultimately, guys, what happened here was we were overextended, over-leveraged. Bulls were just a little too cocky after this little pop up above resistance, combined with another fake story, or not fake story, but just overly expressed opinions that happened at a very vulnerable hour in the trading market, around 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we just got into a snowball situation where it got out of control for the bears. At the end of the day, let's bring ourselves back to the facts. The facts are a Bitcoin ETF is coming. And I know there's going to be a lot of people who say that, actually right now, there's several sources out there you could find to say that we're going to get one denied. I'm not even in the camp of denied. I still think there's a good chance that we don't get one approved by the 10th. Of course, that's the bet T-Sherman I have. But I'm saying I think there's really no possible way we get past March. It's going to happen by March. Either way, when that happens, the price is going to explode. People are going to be very, very happy for a period of time. Now, I said this yesterday, and I'll say it again today. I am rooting for T-Sherman to be right. I really want these ETFs to be approved before the 10th. Why? Because after the ETF gets approved, we will have a nice pump in price followed by a dump. So in reality, we're going to see both bears get wrecked at first. There's a lot of bears just sitting here saying, nope, ETFs, we're done. We're going to get some terrible news here. We're crashing. They're going to get surprised when we get an approval and then the price shoots to the upside, close to 53,000. I'll show you here in a second why I think that is. But then people are getting a little too cocky. Bulls are getting a little too cocky. We're going to follow an old historic pattern that Bitcoin has never broken, where we always have at least one 40% pullback before the halving event. Let's go back over to my screen, and then we'll kind of finish up Bitcoin. We'll jump into some news. We'll do some TA at the end. Definitely want to hear your guys' questions. I see the chat going nuts. So, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, let's go out here to the weekly chart. Let's go and look at fixed range volume profile over this entire market. Some of you who have watched my TA, you guys know about this, but let's take a look anyway. The explosion is going to happen. The explosion is going to come. Why do I think the explosion is going to happen? A, because I think there's a lot of naysayers out there who are going to get wrecked. People putting shorts in, and enough retail investors hear the news and buy will wreck those shorts. The target I have at this point, we really have taken out this first gap here at 45,000. A move to the upside, we're not just talking about a move into the platinum pocket, but we have to find the next level of significant resistance. Guess where that next level is going to be? It's going to be in this gap right here at $53,000. I think that after an approval, I do think we maybe make to 48 before an approval. We maybe hit to 48 and then come back down to 45, 46,000, start turning former resistance levels into support. But then we get an approval and the price will shoot up here over a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day period. And then before you know it, blow off top, prices will start dropping for no reason. You guys won't understand what is happening. We'll finish this 40% pullback to where? 40% pullback from 53,000 would bring us down to 31,800. What is 31,800? Former resistance level from back in July of 2023. This is a couple rules here you got to follow in technical analysis. It is very rare. I'm not going to say 100% of the time it does this, but it is rare that when you break through a significant level of resistance, you don't come back to retest it as support. We never did that. This resistance was a resistance back in May of 2022 and the April and July months here in 2023. We blew through it easily. It's time to revisit it. The other thing, and I've showed you guys this before, every single previous bull market year or year before the real bull market gets exciting, we've had at least one, if not two, 40% or greater pullbacks in the market. The greatest pullback we've had at this point was only 20% back here in August and September when we pulled back down to 25,000. All of this is going to play out, guys. There's so many people sitting right now, and I understand why. I understand why people are getting confused, but there is going to be a lot of volatility that shakes you out. My recommendation to you guys, my recommendation is to continue to hodl your portfolio throughout this entire bull market. And if you're feeling frisky and you want to trade, keep your eyes on those levels, 53,000 and 31,800. I think those are going to be some pretty interesting spots to watch over the next 2 to 3 months in Bitcoin's price action before the halving. That was a lot. Let's go ahead and before we jump into the news, did you see any chat T-shirt that you thought was interesting? I see Dave Digital said, Tim, please call your connection at the SEC and get this ETF approved before dinner, please. Thanks in advance, bro. Yeah, Auntie Beth is not taking my calls at this time. She is my connection to Gary Gensler, and that phone's been disconnected. She got tired of it, so I'll try to find my other ways, Dave. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, Tim, you're such a stitch.
What a stitch.
He's a hilarious guy. He's our comedian here. We did get an interesting comment, and I went ahead and checked it out. ADAA said, did y'all see the X post by Dan? I assumed he meant Dan.
Crypto Capital Venture. Yeah.
Eventual. Exactly. Right.
Eventual.
So this post said, tons of chatter that Bitcoin ETFs are about to be approved and ready to be announced. This one from, okay, this is going to be difficult. This one from Eric Buchanan. Let me zoom in a little more. Saying SEC is giving final comments as we speak. Then issuers will submit final. I think that was from yesterday. But then there was one from Wolf of All Streets. He said the rumor mill is going full steam. Have heard multiple times in the past hour that ETFs are being approved. Issuers know it and are preparing for next week. Again, rumors, but hearing it everywhere. And then finally from Anthony Scaramucci, which I went over to Scaramucci's Twitter, and he says it's done. So that could be referring to a lot of things, but I think the speculation, and he is, so his firm, I can't remember the name of it, maybe it says in his bio. His firm, Skybridge Capital, that's what it is. They actually seeded the first 100,000 Bitcoin, or first $100,000 for the Bitcoin spot ETF for BlackRock. So first $100,000 towards that. So that's a pretty big deal. He openly admitted that in a podcast I was listening to. So that's public information.
Listen,
but anyway,
this is all good. I love it. But again, we have for the last 5 to 6 months at least had one source saying, "Oh, here it is, guys. It's coming by the end of the week. Oh, next week, guys. They have another meeting set up. This is it. This one's the real one, right?" So it's one of those things you have to wait and see. I actually think I might make a short on this, or at least I gave the idea to do a short. Did you ever see that TikTok T-shirt? Because there's this whole series of people saying how to know if a girl likes you. But there was this one guy. This one guy, he got satirical with it. It was like, how to know if a girl likes you? Well, if she smiles at you, you're not really sure. Girls can be kind of friendly, so you're going to want to continue to search for more clues. If she holds your hand, sometimes girls are a little touchy-feely. This really isn't something you can count on. It's like, if she goes on a date with you, you're still not sure. I mean, she might have just wanted free dinner, and it pretty much goes all the way to she marries you and has 3 children. You're still going to want to check for a couple. That's how I kind of feel like we're at here with the ETF system. It's like, hey, we have a filing that looks identical to the futures ETF. Yeah, they're worried about spot ETF. They think it's price manipulative. Oh, BlackRock joins the party, and they have great track record. There's still manipulation concerns. They have meetings. They literally have a meeting with NASDAQ, set it all up. It's Gary Gensler. He likes to toy the motions. I feel like even when we hear from Gary Gensler that he's approving the ETF, there's still going to be that thing in the back of your mind that's like, all right, they approved it, but what if tomorrow they have some emergency that they declare that there's a national security threat with crypto and they're banning all crypto? And then that's it. We approved it for 2 days and then took it down. It's like, that's how sometimes I feel as long as Gary Gensler's in charge of the SEC.
I think a lot of people agree with you on that, on Tim. And it actually reminds me of something. I was listening to a Spaces yesterday. I can't remember what it was. I feel like I say that every day now. But there was a guy who was making an argument for the disapproval of the spot Bitcoin ETF on the grounds of national security, because he said that if it's approved, that's going to make a bunch of terrorist groups very, very rich, which is like, okay, that's not the grounds that the SEC should ever be considering its approval or disapproval of an ETF, especially when being proposed by prominent Wall Street investment funds. But anyway, I mean, there's something to it, right? Obviously, but it's ridiculous. But what you said made me think of that. Tim, we've got an excellent factoid of the day. to bring to the good people here of the interwebs, our bros that we love so much. But we've actually got a new sponsor that I wanted to bring to your attention, guys. We're going to be down in Naples, Florida. So if you're from South Florida, pay attention because this is very important for you. Bitcoin Day. It's in Naples, Florida on January 20th this year. So it's coming up quick.
It's right around the corner.
And you go to bitcoinday.io or click the link in our description. Make sure that you find and click on all the right links. There's lots of scams in crypto. Bitcoin Day is not a scam. It's a event that we're very much looking forward to, and Tim and I will both be there. This will be the first crypto event I think we've both been able to go to.
I'm looking forward to this because it's not only we're both going to be there, but we're going to road trip it, right? I'm going to drive down and pick little T-Shroom up there in Gainesville, Florida, and the bros are going to have. I think from Gainesville it's still going to be like a 4 to 5 hour drive. So I got to be like 5 hours down to you with another 5 hours down to Naples. Going to spend some quality time with good old T-Shroom.
That's right.
You're going to love it.
Absolutely. Well, let's see if we can keep up positivity here, Tim. What was the name of the first American credit card? Was it A?
You are digging deep.
Was it A, Charge Plate, B, Bridge Pay, C, AmeriCard, or D, Diners Club Card?
I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know. I don't even know how to rule one out. So I'm just going to go with AmeriCard. I just C.
AmeriCard. He's locking it in.
As soon as I say it, Dave Digital says Diners. I don't know. Sometimes Dave Digital pulls stuff out of his butt, so I don't know if he just threw that up there quickly. Now Zindagi is saying D as well. Diners Club 100 says Matt C. Can I change my answer, or do I have to stick with C?
Let me ask the Factoid Elf. Hey, Factoid Elf, can he change his answer? No. All right. We're going to move on, Tim. We're going to get... That was our most sophisticated moment here on the Investing Bros. We really, really appreciate you joining us and hanging out. Make sure you smash that like button just for the sophisticated moments that we have here. And if you're new to the channel, definitely consider subscribing. Let's go ahead and dive on into a couple of headlines here that are sending shockwaves through the crypto community. Asset managers, including ARK, Grayscale, and Fidelity, all file an A8 form in latest sign of progress for spot Bitcoin ETF applications. Now, does this matter to you at all? Pretty much no, but it's kind of an interesting thing, especially for those at home who are keeping extra careful track of the ETF narrative. So let's dive into some of the details here. Grayscale, ARK Invest, Valkyrie, Van Eyck are the latest firms to file their Forms A8s, signaling progress towards a potential spot Bitcoin ETF exchange-traded fund. Otherwise known as an ETF, in case you've never heard that acronym broken down. There you go. You heard it here first. The move signifies registration that allows issuers to trade on an exchange once the product has been approved. So there you go. That is really, again, not going to be any kind of mind-blowing development for the average crypto retail investor, but folks on Wall Street are going to be celebrating tonight for this specific movement forward because they love paperwork on Wall Street. Who'd have thought? You build a barrier, it's tougher to enter. All right, moving along, though. Tuttle, it doesn't end there. Can you believe it, Tim? There's more ETF news. Tuttle Capital proposes 6 ETFs that magnify spot Bitcoin ETF performance before the spot BTF has even been approved. James Seyfert from Bloomberg said, we have filings for 6 leveraged Bitcoin ETFs already. Don't even have a spot Bitcoin ETF approved yet, but Tuttle Capital waits for no one. There's a big old scary dinosaur for you, Tim. Why is that relevant? Because the name of the ETFs are T-Rex. So I guess T-Rex is kind of the branding they're going with. I'm not exactly sure because that's not a meme in crypto at all, to my knowledge. Not sure why that is, but they've got the 1.5 inverse, so you can short it, and then you've also got the the long goes all the way up to 1.75 long. Now, what will let you guys know is that there already exists both of these for the futures ETFs. So that's just something. BITO, BITX is the 2X long, and I'm forgetting BITI, BITI is the 2X short, or at least it's just short. It may not be a leverage short, so that would be the first leverage short. So that's kind of cool. Innovation that excites for Wall Street ETF traders. moving along here, we've got. Well, what do you think about that, Tim? Do you think that that's going to totally annihilate the crypto space? These leveraged ETFs. Do you think that's going to have any impact at all?
I mean, it's cool to have the leveraged ETFs, but just so you know, it'll be nice during the bull market. That is something that could get interesting. And you said they're filing for them, right? That's going to be hard to pass because Gary does the best he can to make it so that retail investors can't do leverage trading in the United States. And to be fair, here's what I'll say. Not that I like Gary Gensler and I like that rule. I understand why a lot of retail investors get wrecked. And then why do you have massive dumps in different markets? A lot of times that dump is coming from over leveraged positions where there was no backing, there was no position there whatsoever. It becomes a bubble, and then the bubble pops. So if you thought we were having a hard time getting the spot ETFs passed, just wait till you see the process that Gary sends them through to get the leveraged ones passed.
Well, Tim, I think I might be smelling my next steak dinner because I'm going to take the opposite side of that. If I'm Gary, I'm thinking.
What did I say? How do you do the opposite?
I think that these will pass easier than the spot Bitcoin ETFs because, okay, I take your point. The SEC, the legislative bodies in the United States have taken steps to limit the availability of leverage trading for crypto in general, right? That's something that's true. We can all agree on that. If I'm Gary, I would say this is better because instead of folks using, specialized software to be able to obfuscate the bans on that type of technology, now we can just have Wall Street introduce it in a much more safe and contained way. And if we need to halt the exchange, we can do that. Whereas if Binance, if we allowed Binance leverage trading back in the U.S., we wouldn't have any control over that because it's a decentralized entity. And so that's kind of the way that I would think about it.
I mean, fair. That's why it was confused when you said opposite. So you're just saying you think it'll be easy, whereas I said I think it'll be hard. Are there a lot of leveraged ETFs out there, if any?
Yeah, for pretty much for like gold and oil and natural gas.
Leveraged ETFs?
Yeah, the finance sector, the agricultural sector. Yeah.
Maybe you're right here. Maybe the spot ETF will break the ground that needs to be broken so that it's just a simple clean up the cards for this.
Right. The James Seiferts and the Eric Buchanas of the world, they're like super sexy right now and everybody loves them and is paying attention to them. They're getting new followers because of crypto. Right. But the thing is crypto is just one line item that comes across the ETF approval list, but there's constantly new ETFs being approved and disapproved for different reasons or amended and things like that. I was actually listening to some CNBC reporting today, and they said they've never seen any kind of news coverage of an ETF approval like this before, even when the original spot gold ETFs were being introduced. It was something that really only like Wall Street bureaucratic nerds cared about, and it certainly never made it into the millions of headlines that we see. Literally every single day, we see 5 or 8 significant new fresh headlines saying this new document has been filed with the CDTT or some new acronym you've never heard of. And it's like there's a lot of we've learned 2 things. There's a lot of paperwork involved in filing for ETFs, and the other thing is that Gary Gensler
has a cousin who likes to go to the beach on his birthday. That's what we learned.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That's the takeaway.
And that also T-Rexes are very, very scary. Look at that scary T-Rex. All right, there's one more. There's a couple more stories here. Why financial advisors are skeptical about spot Bitcoin ETF approval.
I was wondering if you're going to be in the story. I skimmed across this story earlier today, but yeah, this is an interesting one.
So these ETFs, they're likely to be approved, but is anybody going to buy them? Right, that's kind of the question. Now, the actual report that's cited here is from Bitwise Investments, and this is kind of the crux of it. If you really cared to dive in, this is kind of what I found. They asked the question to fiduciaries, if you currently do not allocate to crypto in client accounts, do you plan to do so in 2024? Very few said definitely yes, but 38% definitely not, and then 34% said probably not. The rest is 6 and 21% that said unsure or probably yes. So it's definitely not an overwhelming majority of people rushing into these ETFs that are coming out, but there's definitely not zero. It's definitely going to be some, according to this question. Now, the second question, in my opinion, is a lot more bullish, If you currently allocate to crypto in client accounts, do you plan on increasing, maintaining, decreasing, or eliminating your allocation in 2024? 57% said increase. That's pretty significant.
Yeah.
41% said maintain, and that is the vast majority. So they're either going to maintain or increase their allocation to client accounts of crypto. And then 2% said decrease, and 0% said eliminate. That 2% that said decrease, who is that, Tim? It's Elizabeth Warren's financial advisor. I don't know.
Probably. I was going to say, this is probably the list that found us the people that watch Jim Cramer and invest based off of him. So
right.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Oh, so yeah, that's pretty encouraging statistics there. I'm not exactly sure why the headline was why financial advisors are skeptical about spot.
Well, I don't know what that article goes into, because again, what I saw was it's just go back to it. I think it says right there in that first line. Less than half of financial advisors expect to be. This is what I was looking at. It was like only 39% of financial advisors think it's going to be approved, which is actually pretty crazy, because most of them do worship Bloomberg, and Bloomberg's the one pretty much saying. Bedridden just put it in chat. He said about an hour old. Spot Bitcoin ETF approval is as close to done as we've seen. Senior Bloomberg ETF analyst says so. Bloomberg's sitting here super bullish, saying, "Hey guys, it's we've never been this close." I will say, Melifogo says is crypto savvy. That's going to diminish the Bitcoin holdings. That's actually pretty funny. I will say, when it comes to the Bloomberg report, I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying, when you make these predictions and you're wrong, and then you make the prediction and you're wrong, and then you make the prediction and you're wrong, Bloomberg has said we are close several times. And I'm not saying it's the same analyst, but I've seen the headline that says Bloomberg senior analyst predicts 90% chance of approval of ETF before the end of 2023. Well, that didn't happen. Bloomberg top analyst expects 90% chance it happens by next week, and it's talking about what happened there in December. It's like, well, that didn't happen. So it's like, I get it. They're saying this is the closest we've been, because the other ones they kind of projected like a month out or a week out, and now it sounds like they're projecting like a day out is what it sounds like. But they've been wrong. Like, they've gotten these calls wrong. I'm telling you, and I think I'm a broken record, which, by the way, guys, as we are speaking, Bitcoin just touched 44.6. We are in a little bit of a nice rally as we are speaking. Let me go down to my hourly. Actually, let's go to the 5 minute. Let's get really fun with it. My point here, my broken recordness, though, that I just want to caution you guys on, is that nobody but Gary Gensler knows when these are actually going to get approved. It's only his skeevy little brain that knows what's happening right now. Bloomberg can have every expert they want. You can have every insider you want. But until we hear the words from Gary Gensler himself, we don't know when exactly these ETFs will be approved. And that's the sad reality. And again, I'm rooting for tomorrow. I'm rooting for approval by the 10th. I'd love to see it. The truth is, I was asking myself, and I like that we're seeing this pump. I want to see this pump continue. I was sitting here asking myself, I was like, if this news is breaking and it's such a sure thing, why isn't the price going up? Well, here we go. Price is going up. So this is a good sign that there is some validity to this news. But remember, it doesn't have to be factual for price to move. If enough people believe it, the price will move. And look at this. As soon as we pump up here and we touch these prices, like 44.7, it's getting sold right back off. So I told you guys in the beginning when we were doing TA, keep your eye on what's happening here. Yes, this is really impressive. You want to see what happens here. But there is still a chance. There's still heavy liquidity. And with news like that, I'm just telling you right now how this works. With news like that, who is that news supposed to surprise or get the attention of? It's not the experts. It's not the institutions. It's not the whales. They would have that kind of information early and would already be buying. That news coming out, I'm not saying it's going to crash us back to 31,000 today. What I'm saying is they want retail investors to buy. So them saying something super bullish like, this is the closest we've ever been, is a great excuse to get retail investors to buy, so that when we come back over here to liquidity, they can get you to get over leveraged up here and then come down and wipe you out of those longs and bring the price back down below 44,000. I'm not saying it's absolutely definitely going to happen, but that's where my eyes are at the moment. If I'm in a long already, I'm just sitting tight. But if you're sitting here saying, oh my gosh, this news just broke, I need to FOMO into a long, you might get wrecked on this one. And just be patient. Be patient for sustained moves. If you want to spot trade on this one, fine. If you want to set a long and a type stop loss just in case. In fact, like even though I wouldn't recommend doing any type of leverage long right now, if you entered a long here and put your stop loss below this yellow line, somewhere down towards 43.7, that's probably a decent strategy right there for the just in case. I still wouldn't do any type of heavy leverage whatsoever because of the uncertainty of this move and the fact that we are kind of wrestling here again. Even those lower time frames, yeah, the 1 minute starting to slow down. You always this is a sign of caution, guys. Sign of caution to see no volume, a lot of volume attached to a candle with a big wick, and then negative bearish candles right after it. A lot of times that is a bearish flash. That is a call saying that whatever type of movement you were in, if you're going up, you're probably done going up. If you're going down, you're probably done going down. That's a pretty classic sign right there. But let's kind of sit here and wait to see how that one works out.
Yep. Absolutely. Thank you, Tim. It's good good coverage to the minute there. I like that a lot. We got one more story.
Hold on. Brian Baum. I love it. Brian Baumaphob. First of all, before we even read the comment, what a name. Congratulations to you. I like it. I like that name. I might steal it. After the ETF is approved, Tim will be betting it won't get approved. Probably at this point. No, once we get approved, I'll feel pretty safe, but I will need to see approval. And again, I would love to see it. I would love to see it. I'll tell you this, though. I have been the most right on my calls. Nobody gets 100% of every call correct. I get some wrong, I get some right. More often than not, when I get calls right, I have a minority of people that agree with me. Being a contrarian is actually a very beneficial way to do it. So with everyone so certain of the approval, I really hope it's happening. But I've just been playing this game now long enough to know when everyone thinks one thing is going to happen, a lot of times something different happens. Not always. There's sometimes where the majority thinks something's going to happen and it ends up happening. But you want to see the done deal. We want to see the nail in the coffin before we break out the champagne and the balloons. You know what I mean? Let's get to that last story, and then we'll jump back into some chat conversation here in a second.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's not a crazy one here, Tim, but Binance places monitoring tag on 10 cryptocurrencies, including Monero and Zcash. So Binance, wherein these assets may no longer meet the exchange's listing criteria, the world's largest exchange, in a statement on Thursday that it will extend the monitoring tag to Ant, Firo, KP3R, MDX, MOB, Reef, VAI. I think this one's actually pretty popular, and Zen. So tokens with a monitoring tag exhibit notable higher volatility and risks compared to other tokens. Oh my gosh. That's what they said. These tokens are closely monitored with regular reviews conducted. Keep in mind that tokens with the monitoring tag are at risk of no longer meeting our listing criteria and being delisted from the platform. Oh my gosh. That is such double speak right there. That's not why they're taking it down. They're taking Monero down because it's Monero.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. But there you go. So, what does that say? That's essentially kind of saying that the global financial, system has been waiting on, essentially the biggest gorilla, the 10,000-pound gorilla in the room, the biggest operator in crypto, Binance, to comply. And this statement here shows every indication that Binance is now pretty much under full control, or at least full compliance with kind of Western TradFi. So not necessarily the worst thing in the world, right? But,
second worst thing in the world.
Yeah, it's definitely not great for that kind of hardcore libertarian, decentralized type of motif. But here we are, on the precipice of a very bullish event. And ultimately, the crypto community has had to make some sacrifices, and a couple of coins being delisted from Binance is one of those. So there we go. That's the world we live in, folks.
The world we live in. Good stuff. Good stuff, DJ. Well, I did see something in here that was pretty funny. Dave, we got to get the answer to the trivia question. I don't remember which day it was. I think one day we didn't ever give the answer. Was it yesterday or was it the day before? I think we just skipped it.
I think it might have been the calendar one. Like, what calendar do we base the New Year's off of?
Yeah, maybe.
You guessed Gregorian, and that was correct.
Oh, look at that. Okay. Well, I needed that because I hadn't been right in a while. Let's take a look here. Yeah. Dave Digital says that, we'll go look at charts here in a second. Dave Digital said that Gary Gensler is going to appeal the approval. And Matt pointed out that's awesome because he's going to appeal his own department's approval. Would that be the craziest thing in the world? Do you not see that as a direct possibility that Gary Gensler approves it and then appeals his own approval? Like, that's not the craziest thing I've heard all week. That's absolutely doable. And I know that was meant as a joke, but it's realistically possible with the way that Gary Gensler makes sense.
That's so
interesting. What do you think about that, T-shirt?
That's so interesting.
He approves it and then appeals his own approval. I hold myself in contempt.
The thing is that's not that far out of the realm of possibility. I remember listening to an interview with Hester Pierce and Gary Gensler. This was probably 3 or 4 years ago, I think, when they recorded that. But they were talking about this kind of stuff where they were like, because Gary Gensler started over at the CFTC, I believe, or he worked there at least before where he works now, the SEC.
Did he?
Yeah, and he was saying how he worked over there and he did this, and this, and Hester Pierce was like, yeah, I disagreed with that. I didn't like it when you made it when you did it there. And Gary was like, yeah, in hindsight, I don't like it either, but that was a decision we made at the time with the data we had available. And it's like, okay, well, did you do anything to change that rule back since then? And it's like, that's not how the process works. Like, they're so like, it's not them specifically that's the problem. It's just the fact that like you're trying to regulate so much insanity and try to pin down innovation. You can't pin down innovation. People, by nature, the people who are innovating are going to be able to find ways to obfuscate rules, right? Like that's the nature of it. So crime will always exist, and there will always be Gary Genslers of the world trying to do what they can, thinking that they're doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. And in reality, they're just keeping the Wild West. They're really just putting makeup on the Wild West. That's really what it is. Anyway. I do got one more thing I wanted to bring to you guys, because we say on the show we're not going to believe that the Bitcoin spot ETF has been passed until Gary actually says it. Much more specifically, in my opinion, Tim, you might have a slightly different opinion from this, but this is the actual place where you'll need to verify when it is. And I'm saying this because tomorrow, I feel like there's a good chance that tomorrow we could kind of get that thumbs up from the SEC.gov /news/press release website, and then you're going to find it here. And funny enough, there's actually a press release from today. The first 2 press releases, there was somebody was sworn in as a new commissioner, and then the other one, SEC charges Florida real estate developer Rishi Kapoor with perpetuating $93 million of fraud scheme and obtains emergency relief. So the SEC's got their hands full. Approving spot ETFs for digital assets is not the only thing they're over there doing. They've got their hands busy over there in the Florida real estate markets, of which I am currently sitting square in the middle of right now, physically. But anyway, this will be the website that you want to be tuned into. This is what I'm sitting here, refreshing and refreshing and refreshing and refreshing to see what's going to happen here. You can also subscribe to this RSS feed. This isn't a plug. This is a .gov. You can subscribe to this RSS feed and hook that up to RSS app if you want to take advantage of that technology, or just be on Twitter. Twitter will probably be having it pretty quickly as well. So
Twitter,
absolutely.
Let's get the trivia question answered. Matt C definitely wants the answer. I'm pretty sure. I mean, it was overwhelmingly. Matt says that we were sitting in a conference together and they said it. I don't know, Matt. You might have better memory than me, because I do not remember hearing that trivia in a conference. But let's go ahead and get the answer. Tell me that I'm wrong.
You wanted to go ahead and get the answer that's to the trivia question that was brought to you by Bitcoin Day. That's going to be taking place on January 2nd. Well, I can absolutely deliver that, Tim. The answer is not AmeriCard. It's Diners Club Card.
Yeah. Well, what's new? I got it wrong. All right. Well, let's move on from my wrong trivia. Oh, yeah. You always tell us about it. Yeah. We have to actually learn the history. I forgot. It's not just questions. Yeah. What happened here?
See, Tim just likes to be right. He doesn't like to learn.
Yeah.
Invented in 1950, the Diners Club card is known as the first modern-day credit card. The idea came from Frank McNamara, a businessman who'd forgotten his wallet while out to the diner in New York. He and his business partner, Ralph Schneider, would soon invent the Diners Club card as a way to pay without carrying cash. Isn't that fun little slice of American history? And the rest of the story is that now America is in trillions of dollars of credit card debt.
It's true.
It's going to be responsible for the downing of an entire nation.
That's the best. That's the best part right there. Matt says, Tim, do you not remember the keynote speech at Bitcoin conference by Jack Mallers explaining the history of credit card payments? You're talking about the one from 2 years ago? Yeah, no, I don't remember the details of Jack Maller's speech from 2 years ago. What I remember him talking about is how now you could go into like pretty much any store using Stripe, and then you could pay in Bitcoin. And I tested it once. Do you remember this T-shirt? When we tested me, I went into a Chipotle and bought a burrito.
Yeah, we made a video about it.
And the process cost me $50. Now, of course, I didn't have to pay $50, but the minimum amount you could put on into this wallet was $50.
It was through Gemini.
So I moved it over there, and then
remember that you had to get a Gemini wallet to do that.
It was a pain in the butt. That's what I remember from Jack Mallers. I do not remember him talking about the history of credit cards, Matt. Goodness gracious, that is I don't even apologize. Is that the detail you would have picked up from that whole event, T-Shroom? The credit card history?
I already knew that. Yeah,
that's true. You know everything. You and the elf. Let's go ahead and engage. What do you guys want to talk about for the rest? We got 7 minutes here. Let's do some Q&A. You guys want to look at some charts? You guys want to talk about Bitcoin? You guys want to talk about other coins?
I think we got to look at Caspa first, and then we can.
Well, let's look at Caspa. Yeah, Caspa had a nice little bounce.
TOOL was shouted out at the beginning of the show by none other than Ada Ace, who's been helping us behind the scenes with some stuff. Really appreciate you, Ada.
All right, so Caspa actually did. I hadn't checked in on it for a couple of days now, because back when we talked about this last time, I told you guys look for a pullback after breaking the resistance level right here. We had a rally. I said look for a pullback to this level. Now I don't know if I called it as low as back down to 10.11 cents, but I told you guys to look for a pullback to the former resistance line, find support. Guess where we bounced on Caspa? Boom, right there. Kind of confirming, and this is what I'm talking about, guys. When we see the breaks above resistance and then the pullback down, tournament support, this is what you love to see. I'm very bullish. Now, what it does need to get above that you can kind of see even without even drawing, but we got a nice trend. Got a nice trend developing right now. We do need to break above this yellow line with some confirmation and move to the upside, but you love to see it with Caspa. Let's see with some other things, what it is saying. Here on the 4-hour chart, definitely very bullish. Even though it was under a sell order, it reversed, went to the upside here on the 4-hour chart. The 4-hour chart for most projects right now are decently bullish. Now, we are getting a slight little reversal. That you see a little red dot here. This is Lux Algo, which, by the way, shout out to Lux Algo, partner of the channel. Got phenomenal trading tools that I'm continuing. I'm learning through them every single day, getting better and better using them. There's some fantastic things I want to show you guys in the future, which, by the way, 140 people are here right now. Thank you, everyone who's clicking in here. If you have enjoyed this show, I will say, we have talked some good talk about crypto. We've had some fun doing it too. If you guys have liked that, you need to go ahead and smash that like button. And if you're new and you like to have fun around 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, this is your show. This is us. We also have a 9 a.m. live show where T-Shroom covers all the news. And most days an 8:30 upload. I did not get that out today. I'll be back on schedule tomorrow with that upload. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you see all of those. But heading back over here towards Caspa, and we're looking at Lux Algo. The scalper trade here, we're about to hit our stop loss here. When you come down lower, I'm going to about just guarantee you we're in a long on the, yeah. So if you were on the hourly chart, you would have entered a long way back here. You've already hit your first take profit. You're looking around that level potentially for a second take profit. But in my experience, I like the first take profit, and the midway levels seems to be the most accurate here. And again, we're seeing this little red dot. And when you look historically, there's lots of different reversal calls. They don't really have any specialized names. There's strong ones, there's weak ones. But these red dots, more often than not, have been pretty good at calling tops. Of course, I say that, and that one's not a great one right there. But here you go. Boom. Nice red top. With that little red dot right there. Can you guys see it? It's so small, but I think you still see it. Little red dot calling that top there as well. So this oscillator is doing a fantastic job. I will talk to you guys more in the future about the other things with money flow here. Some really cool features that you have when you get Lux Algo using our link down below. But this oscillator right here is super powerful at calling different trends and telling you when to be bullish, when to be bearish. So just one more tool you can add to your trading portfolio as well. But yeah, hitting all of our take profits here. We're getting really close to the premium level on the hour. I'm sure if we start dropping down towards 15-minute, you're talking about scalpers. Yeah, we came up in here into the premium zone here already. So more than likely, we saw the reversal kind of starting to look like it was happening on Bitcoin. Let's keep that one. We're looking at 44.2 right now after being up at 44. I think we're up to 44.6. Let's continue to watch. But a lot of things on the lower time frames flashing a little overextended to the upside. Now, 4-hour charts, I think we have room to go. We just had the 4-hour chart cross, the MACD just crossed bullish. We do not have bearish divergence set up. When you're looking at the chart, the oscillator here from Luxalgo, you're also going to see the most recent calls here. At this bottom, we had a nice green dot with that money flow getting really low and starting to pull to the upside. So got a lot to look forward to. Did get a little red dot right there, so maybe a temporary drop. But the 4-hour chart still has room to the upside. That's another reason why I'm bullish here long term. Just might see a small pullback. Which, speaking of, let's see on the liquidations. I don't know if High Block has Caspa on it yet. It doesn't. So this is where you're gonna have to go. I like to use High Block, but you also, if you guys want a free version, you can use CoinGlass. I just find the information on High Block to be a little better. But I also found that CoinGlass has access to a couple more coins, which got to get rid of that dreadful white. I'm sorry about that, guys. I deeply apologize. That was a rookie mistake, and it'll never happen again. Let's go to symbol. Let's see. Does CoinGlass have Caspa? Please. Yes, it does. There we go. Let's take a look at Caspa's liquidation levels. 3 daily. There's not a lot of attraction. There must just not be a lot of volume happening right here on Caspa. So you're not seeing any bright yellow. The brightest color on the board, you can see we actually just came and broke through. Let's take a look at the 12-hour. Let's see if anything pops out to us. Yeah, look, we cleared a lot here. Let's go 24-hour. Cleared out a lot. If we move a little further to the upside, maybe we make a move up here a little closer to 12 cents, but heavier liquidity back down below us, back below 10 cents even. So it's kind of saying that it really would want to drop back down to the same exact levels it almost bottomed out. I guess we bottomed out a little further back here, but it looks like it wants to make a pullback into that 10-cent range. Let's take a look at the chart again, and let's get rid of some of the noise here and see what that would look like. Now that we have a secondary zone, again, falling wedge pattern, we broke bullish, but you're kind of seeing a little bit of a falling trading channel here. 10 cents would pull us back up somewhere in this region. So maybe a small pullback here on Caspa back towards 10 cents before it decides if it wants to break through this yellow line and move to the upside. That is what we're seeing here on Caspa. Let's see. It is 3:59, but we'll go just a little bit long. Dave Digital said, Tim been smoking. I have not. I don't believe in it. I don't believe smoke exists. What else do we have here? Like button hit, says IMJ. I absolutely 100% agree. Let's see here. Bitcoin CME futures gap usually gets filled. I think this will become a thing of the past as global adoption continues. Thoughts? Well, Miguel, here's the deal. Yes, gaps get filled, except, and I think there's a study, they once said, I saw a study that said it was 96% of CME gaps get filled in the stock market, in crypto. And you're like, oh, okay. So if there's a gap, we must fill them. Well, no, let's think about this, guys. 96% get filled, which means 4 don't get filled. 4%. And then you got to think about it more logically. It's like, well, where are those ones that are not getting filled? They're pretty much all at the bottom. So even at the top of a bull market, if you set a gap, you just got to wait to the next bull market. You'll end up filling that gap eventually. It's the ones at the bottom that don't get filled. So when we're looking at I'm sure that the reason why you're even commenting this is because of Bitcoin. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart and see the gaps. Now, we just came down and filled this one. That came down to about 42.5. There's another one right below us here at 39.3, and I think it will get filled. I just don't know if it's going to fill it right now. I almost wonder if the bigger move is going to be the upside before we come back down. Guess what? You see to the upside. It's a different color, but we have a gap that was set way back. This gap all the way up to 53,700. So maybe we go higher than 53, actually. This gap was set way back in December of 2021. It will be filled. However, it has been now over 2 years, and that gap was not filled yet. We still had to wait for the actual bull market. I don't know why I'm still on the drawing tool to actually fill that gap. Now, the ones that are more concerning, this is the one that I thought for a while we were going to fill. I'm very, very much in the camp of saying I think it's going to take a lot to come and fill this gap all the way down to about $20,000. To be fair, though, you have these gaps, the ones that I'm very certain we're not going to ever fill again. You actually have a gap that goes as low right now at 6,200. And if I really wanted to, I think actually this chart only goes back so far. And thank the Lord, because there would be more gaps all the way down probably towards $3. You're not going to fill these. But throughout the bull markets, you guys can just see them on the chart. There's a gap. There's several different gaps happening here. There's a gap. There's a gap. There's a gap. All of these gaps in the middle, they get filled. All the gaps at the top, they eventually get filled. Sometimes, though, it can take up to 2 years to do it. So when I see that we have a gap, a lot of people are acting like, hey, guys, we have a gap on Bitcoin right here at 39,200. We got to go fill it today. That's not the case. That's not the case. We might be working to fill this gap first and then come down and fill this gap. And then who knows? Some of these gaps, maybe we can fill this one. I doubt it seriously. But I think that this is going to be one that falls in that 4% of a gap that never gets filled. The price never goes back down. And I think the point in the comment you said that is you think it's going to increase. I think it's very likely. I think it's very potentially possible that we have some huge pumps over weekends where the market makers, they go to sleep on Friday calling the price one level and wake up on Mondays feeling super bullish and just jump the price super high. And then those are gaps we'll never see ever again. T-Shroom, you look amused.
I just found a meme. I think I found a meme that we can all relate to. Are the Bitcoin ETF approvals in the room with us?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's true.
Yeah. I did say that I had a dream last night that the ETFs were not approved. Yeah. But I didn't actually have a dream about that. It's just something funny I thought of. I don't dream. Yeah. No, I do.
Oh, right. All right. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, okay, so as we're kind of wrapping up, here's what I want you guys to know. I'm really excited about this next year and what's going to be happening. I'm going to be making a video. I wanted to make it this morning, but of course, technical difficulties. I got here to work to record a video, and the computer, it wasn't my computer, and the password wasn't in it. I'm so sorry. I'm going to record this tomorrow. We are about to make a lot of money in this next year. But the real thing we need to be focused on is our overall health. And just because you make a lot of money does not mean you're a well-rounded person. And I'm telling you guys right now, if you watch the Investing Bros and you watch things that you love and you learn a lot and you make a lot of money, but you don't get better as a person, I feel like we have failed as a channel. And if you guys love being a part of this community, I want to challenge each and every single one of you to step on this journey with me and T-Shroom over this next year. We're going to push ourselves to be better, not only at crypto investing, but as humans as a whole. And I'm going to make a video about that tomorrow that encompasses everything that really means. And I want to challenge you guys to take this year of 2024, to take this year that you're about to make a lot of money in, and challenge yourself to push and get more disciplined in every area of your life. Look forward to that tomorrow. Also, make sure if you guys want to hear more from me throughout the day, we have a lot of content that comes out that's for free, and that's awesome. But you can get to our free Discord. You also can join our memberships. And in our gold members, I am spending a large portion of my day updating what's happening in charts, updating what I'm looking for in trades, and taking suggestions from you guys to create more content for that. Just as T-Shroom's showing you, hit that join button, go down, join the gold group, come into the Discord, and engage with me, T-Shroom, Bedridden, and others as we talk about trades throughout our day and make our lives better. You don't want to miss it. I want to see a lot of people get in there, not even just because it supports the channel and helps T-Shroom and I do more stuff and get better at what we do. I want to see a lot more of this community grow and see people's lives change because of it. So if that's something you guys love, smash that like button on the way out. Engage with us every single day. With that said, you guys have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news, got your word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.